Snow 3585, symbolic in San Francisco. How are you? Um, I'm responding to your video on asking a question of Christians. I don't remember the title. Sorry. I'm not Christian. I don't know if any Christians have actually responded. I'm not Christians. I'm an agnostic with an atheist background, atheist family. But Christianity is the dominant religion here in the States, and so I've been under constant pressure all my life to convert to Christianity. Which is a good reason to think about it. So I just wanted to share some ideas with you because they're not they're not arguments that I run into from many Christians, but I think they're very interesting arguments. Basically, and I'm following Bertrand Russell on this. Basically, I think to be a Christian, you have to accept the basic equation of an infinite God being equal to a single man, a single human being. Bertrand Russell rejected that equation. Um, I also cannot accept that equation. I just can't accept it. It seems like a contradiction in terms to me that an infinite God could be essentially squeezed into a single man. In fact, that would hurt. So if when they talk about the suffering of Christ, I mean that might hurt more than being crucified. Though if you threw being crucified on top of that, who can even estimate what kind of pain that would be? Um, but a lot of the way I approach things are based on, of course, the limitations of my mind. And I was reading a book by Wittgenstein called Remarks on Colors, taken from his notebooks. Remarks on Color, taken from his notebooks. And he mentions, I mean, throughout the whole book, he's basically analyzing why it is not possible for him to imagine a transparent white. We can visualize a transparent green, a transparent blue, a transparent red, but imagining a transparent white appears essentially impossible, which then means that there are limitations on our visual imagination that I had not entertained before. I had always assumed that the imagination was capable of nearly everything. Now, I can the phrase transparent white I can grasp immediately as a concept, but visualizing it I cannot. So when I think about, how could you see, when I see this problem of how can you take an infinite God and then basically squeeze him into a single human being, I'm thinking visually. I'm thinking that mathematically this is going to be impossible. This is going to be like unfolding a multi-dimensional cube into a square, a simple two-dimensional square, and you're going to lose information. You're going to lose dimensions and dimensions of information. So thinking geometrically, simple Euclidean geometry, that's not possible. But there may be other branches of mathematics that allow something like that to happen. Perhaps fractals, which are kind of somewhat hologram-ish, hologrammatic. Where a small piece is really a replication of a larger piece. In any event, there may be other ways to not so much imagine this, but conceptualize it, or possibly imagining it using a different mathematical model. But in any event, I think that it's an interesting thing. It's never mentioned as a possible solution by the Christians. I still am not able to accept the equation. I just can't do it. It's too contradictory for me. I'll leave my mind open on all these things, but in any event, I thought it was worthwhile bringing up a certain limitation in our visual imagination, and then also the fact that we tend to default, or I tend to default to a certain mathematical model, and there may be other mathematical models that might explain it. So that's my contribution. For whatever it's worth, I don't know. Time will tell. Take care.